Welcome to the summary and analysis of Book 6 of the Brothers Karamazov. This book is called The Russian Monk, and it's a counter-argument to Book 5. Father Zosima, lying in bed and supported by his friends and followers, welcomes Alyosha warmly and asks about Dmitri. He shares his premonition of Dmitri's potential suffering and tells Alyosha to return to the world and look after his brothers so that he may love life and teach others to do the same. Then Zosima begins to reminisce. He explains that he was born into a noble family of only moderate means, and his father had passed away when he was only 2 years old. His older brother, 8 years his senior, had been influenced by a free thinker and became a source of sorrow to their mother by ridiculing her religious practices. At 17, the brother contracted consumption and was given a few months to live. These confessions are Father Zosima's final request. For months, the young boy was haunted by a relentless transformation as death drew near. He devoted himself to God, fervently believing he would protect even the tiniest birds in the garden. Everyone around him, including the servants, noticed his newfound reverence and generosity, making his faith more remarkable. Zosima attributed this change to two powerful influences: his brother's wisdom and the Bible. This book serves as a reminder of God's boundless love for humans, something Zosima desperately hoped others could feel as well. At this point, religion had yet to take root in Zosima's life. He had attended a military academy in St. Petersburg and left his religious upbringing behind. As a young officer, he was known for his carefree lifestyle and his pursuit of an attractive woman he thought reciprocated his affections. But when she married another while he was away, the pain was unbearable, and he issued a challenge to a duel. The following morning, he awoke with a newfound clarity and remembered his brother's words. Without hesitation, he jumped from bed, apologized to the servant he had wronged, and decided to take the first shot in the duel before turning away from violence, dropping his weapons, and begging for forgiveness. His entourage was left speechless. The interrogators were stunned when he declared his intention to forsake his military commission and pursue a life of holiness in a monastery. He met their incredulous stares without hesitation, a stern determination gleaming from his face that no force on earth could shake. The news of Zosima's healing powers spread like wildfire through the town. One night, a desperate man in need of redemption arrived at his door. They talked for many nights, and the stranger opened about his dark past. Years ago, he killed a woman in a fit of anger, and another man was wrongfully convicted in his place. Despite his outward success, the man had never been able to find peace until now. With courage and determination, he confessed to his guilt publicly, but no one believed him, instead calling him crazy. He felt ill shortly thereafter and thanked Zosima for being his support through it all. The elder never revealed the man's secret despite the gossip that swirled around them both. The aged monk spoke firmly to Alyosha, his voice booming like thunder as he described the importance of the Russian monks. He declared that the Orthodox faith could be the salvation of Russia, and that all people should be unified, with no distinction between social classes. As evidence of this, he cited a story where an old servant donated money to the monastery without any concern for hierarchy. Zosima's words became increasingly passionate as he implored his audience to love all of God's creatures and take responsibility for one another's sins, never judging another but looking instead for the spiritual hell that awaits those who fail to do so. He flung himself to his knees as his spirit was freed to ascend to heaven in a moment of shimmering joy. Zosima has now left Earth. The actual moment of his death constitutes a triple response of love and recapitulates three gestures that we have already seen repeatedly: a bow to the ground, a prayer, and a kissing of the earth. This analysis will be a bit different than the others, since we will focus on one thing, and that's the contrast between Ivan in book 5 and Zosima in book 6, because they balance each other. You shouldn't read one book without the other here. Ivan in book 5 represents the rational and secular perspective, characterized by skepticism, reason, and individualism. He is skeptical of religious faith and questions the existence of God. He presents a number of criticisms and arguments against God and the Church, suggesting that the idea of a just and loving God is incompatible with the suffering and evil in the world. This perspective is similar to that of Søren Kierkegaard's concept of the knight of infinite resignation, who, in the face of the absurdity of the world, chooses to reject God and live a life of detachment. On the other hand, Zosima in Book 6 represents the religious and spiritual perspective. He is based on love, compassion, and faith in God. He preaches about the importance of loving everything, including charity and loving every leaf and ray of light. This love is not just a feeling, but an active choice to love others and seek their well-being, even at the cost of one's own suffering. This perspective is similar to that of Søren Kierkegaard's concept of the knight of faith, instead, who, in the face of the absurdity of the world, chooses to have faith in God and live a life of commitment. Throughout the novel, Dostoevsky explores the tension between these two perspectives and the ideas they represent. He shows that the Ivan's worldview is characterized by a rejection of authority and tradition, whereas Zosima's perspective represents a more authentic form of Christianity that is based on love, compassion, and humility. In terms of psychology, Ivan's rejection of God and the Church can also be seen as an expression of the death drive, as proposed by Sigmund Freud. Ivan's rejection of authority, tradition, and his own guilt can be seen as a manifestation of the death drive, the human tendency towards self-destruction. On the other hand, Zosima's faith and love for others is a manifestation of the life drive, the human tendency towards self-preservation and connection with others. The contrast between Ivan and Zosima is not just a literary device, but it also represents the struggle between two different worldviews that exists in the world today. Ivan's worldview is based on skepticism, reason, and individualism, whereas Zosima's worldview is based on faith, compassion, and community. The novel presents us with the question of which worldview we want to adopt. Do we want to live in a world where we reject authority and tradition and focus on our own self-interests? Or do we want to live in a world where we have faith, compassion, and love for others? Here, Zosima also adds what has become a key expression in the novel. He says, "Fathers and teachers, what is hell? I think it is the suffering of one who can no longer love." Robin Feuer Miller has done some excellent work on the Brothers Karamazov, and she adds that Zosima doesn't counter Ivan's argument through reason or logic, but through the heart. And Zosima says that everyone is really responsible to all men and for everything. The Grand Inquisitor's model of authority is vertical, Zosima's horizontal. This also reminds us of another novel from Dostoevsky called Notes from Underground, and it's regarding Ivan's rationality. But in Notes from Underground, we learn that only a small part of us being human is about rationality. It says that the world is not a perfect crystal palace, and we are not just organ stops reacting blindly to reason. With us, 2 times 2 can be 5. Our ability to choose to act without reason is our freedom, and our freedom is at the center for Zosima as well. In conclusion, the Brothers Karamazov and these books 5 and 6, they are not just parts of a novel, but a mirror to the society and the world we live in today. It gives us an opportunity to reflect on our own worldview and choices in life. It's a reminder that the choices we make have consequences, and it's up to us to choose between a life of detachment and self-destruction or a life of commitment and self-preservation. Thanks for watching, and we hope you found this video a bit informative and insightful. Remember to subscribe to stay updated. Thank you.